Want to see how I fooled everyone into thinking this was my natural hair? What's up? It's Asia Marie and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be showing you step by step on how I did this very natural, undetectable flip over part sew-in with minimal leave out. Let's get started with my natural hair. If you guys have yet to see my hair care routine, I will leave a link down below. I know I look crazy right now, but I do not put necessary heat to my hair, so I do let my hair air dry overnight in 2 or 4 pigtails. So I am currently taking those out, and you can see how long, thick, and healthy my hair is. So I'm going to start off with my braid down. This is the hair that I'm using. I did get this hair from Amazon. I used it once before, so this will be my second use. And I just have a brush comb, this coconut oil to keep my hair moisturized, and some oil for my scalp, rosemary mint. This is great. I got it from TJ Maxx. So I'm just gently detangling my hair, and then I'm going to show you guys my braid pattern. So first I'm going to be mapping out my leave out. I want as minimal leave out as possible, so I'm really only pulling out my baby hairs and a little bit of hair behind that. My hair texture, when I try to wear it curly, it frizzes a lot, and I know it's not the same texture as my weave, so I don't want it as noticeable, but you do need a little leave out to hide your wefts, so your wefts don't look as detectable when you're styling your hair. So that is what I'm doing. I will also go ahead and pull the hair around the nape of my neck. If you don't plan on putting your weave in the ponytail, then you can honestly skip that step, and I'm just braiding that hair away, and I'm braiding it closer to my face, and I will explain why later. Section like a slow jam, stick around 'cause I want to, but as I want to keep focused. This is how much hair I took out. You can honestly take out less. I also braided that hair so I can start mapping out my braid pattern for my sew-in. Okay, this step is probably the most important. This is your anchor braid. So you have to create a braid from ear to ear, almost like a headband. And this braid is going to make your hair and your flip over the most natural looking. So you have to be sure the braid is thick enough to hold your sew-in, but also not so thick to where the braid sits up really high. So you will see how I measure and how thick I want that braid to be. So just pay really close attention to how I'm measuring the hair. I will flip my hair from side to side, and it'll show me how thick that braid is going to be. See how I'm pulling my hair to the side to see how thick that's going to be? That's honestly still too thick, so I'm going to take a little more hair off in the back and do the same for the other side. Make sure everything is even. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want your braid to be too big on one side and small on the other. Now that our anchor braid is mapped out, I'm going to go ahead and start moisturizing my hair. I do add hair grease before I do each braid. You want to make sure your hair is moisturized under these protective styles. It's not a real protective style if your hair is dry, because that will cause breakage. We are still here for the healthy long hair, so I put a lot of hair grease before I start my braid, and now I'm making sure I'm braiding as tight as possible. This braid, if it's loose, you will see it in the front of your hair. So I'm taking my time and I'm grabbing small pieces of hair with each braid, and you can see I'm pulling it tight, not too tight to where your hair is uncomfortable and it's pulling your hair, but tight enough because, like I said, this is your anchor braid. This braid is the most important for your flip over part. So take your time and really pull the hair taut. Going to braid the rest of that hair and clip it away for now. We will come back to it, but here is where you braid the rest of your hair. Honestly, you can do whatever braiding pattern makes you more comfortable. For me, my scalp gets really, really itchy. It doesn't matter what hairstyle I have. If my scalp isn't able to breathe, it just will itch. So I've found that this braiding pattern works best for me. Also, as you can see, I have a lot of hair. My hair is very thick and it's getting really long. So braiding half of my hair and then the other half separate is easier. Also, parting smaller sections give my scalp more surface area to breathe. So that's what I am going to go ahead and do. You guys can kind of sit and watch and pay close attention to how I tuck the tail of each braid to the next braid. So here I'm showing you the tail of the previous braid, and as I'm braiding the next one, when I get midway through, I take that tail, I bring it upwards in the braid, and then I just continue to braid that tail into the next braid. So I learned that that helps you not have so much hair in the back. Like I said, my hair is really, really thick, and you don't want all that hair, getting bulky when you're braiding down. So this helps eliminate that thickness at the nape of your neck so I can have more breathing room. And this is how the finished pattern looks on one side. I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other side. Almost finished. I'm on my second to last braid. If you guys didn't know, I do have arthritis in my hands, so my hands were getting really tired at this point, but I had to push through. Here is my finished braiding pattern. It looks really clean, and the best part about it is it's flat at the top. So let's start with our sewing. But before we get there, y'all, I was vibing to some old school B2K, but I'm gonna go ahead and really oil my scalp. I do plan on having this sewing in for a good 2, maybe 3 weeks, so I really want to make sure my scalp is moisturized. And this is another secret: I like to use a crochet wig cap. I love using this for multiple reasons. Number one, it gives your scalp a barrier from the bundles. Sometimes when the bundles are too close to my scalp, it really makes my hair itch. Also, it's extra security for your needle and thread. So if you didn't have this and you're doing your sew-in, the only place your needle and thread can go through is a braid. So if you are trying to sew where maybe your part is, that bundle may not have something to attach to. So the crochet gives you extra surface area and a better grip for your needle and thread. And I was just measuring each bundle to see which one was the longest. I think I have 18, 16, and 14 inch. I will be sure to leave a link down below. It's not sponsored, but I just had to figure out which bundle was the longest because I did use these before, and I was showing you guys I have 3 bundles, and I always keep one piece of your bundle as your last piece in the front. You need to make sure you leave maybe a quarter of your shortest bundle to the side, because if you do run out of hair, at least you know you have enough hair to go in the front where your flip over part is. So now I'm threading my needle, and I do pull the thread as long as my arms can reach. And let's start threading our first bundle. I do take my needle and thread it through the weft. That helps your thread not slip out when the weave is in your hair. So I am pulling the needle through the knot, and then I'm going to pull that all the way through. I may do that twice, and I'm really doing that because I did decide to double my bundles, which means I flip them in half. So to avoid your bundles from separating, I do like to sew the end piece together before I start sewing it into my head. So I'm just going through one more time, and then I am placing it right at the nape of my neck. I'm showing you guys where I like to start. Where the way you do your sew-in is the way your hair is going to sit. So I like my hair to be really thick and long in the back, and because this hair is curly, I want it to be thick throughout my entire head. So you will see throughout this process Another tip, when you are sewing around the perimeter, so like here I'm starting off around the edge of my head, you guys see that band that's connected to the crochet wig cap. Be sure to not sew on to that band because we will cut that band off at the end. So just be mindful of that. But I'm using a hair clip to clip the other end of the bundle to my head so I don't have to hold it, and then I'm just going in and doing a loop knot. So every time I get to the end, I stick my needle through the actual weft of the bundle and sew it through at the same time. That just helps the hair stay really sturdy and it doesn't get loose on your ends. Because I'm flipping the hair back and forth, when you're just sewing it like I was before, it's not as secure. So when I do flip it, I stick that needle through the weft. So sometimes it is a little hard to get it through, but that keeps the hair flat and secure on your head when you're flipping the bundle back and forth. So here I'm getting to the end of my thread. So I'm showing you how I tie a knot. I just put the needle through and wrap it around the needle a few times and just pull the needle really tight, and it'll create a good knot for you. And then I'll go ahead and rethread my needle and continue on. Alright, so I am now one bundle in. You guys see how long and thick the hair is getting? That's because I use a certain pattern when I am sewing the hair in. So here is the second bundle. Here I'm measuring to see how much hair I might need, because I do like to double my wefts if the hair is long enough, like if I have enough weft. So I like to measure and make sure I have enough hair before I start doubling all of my bundles. So I think I do have enough. So I did double the second bundle, and I'm doing the same process of threading it through the actual weft. And then you're gonna see later on, I will change up my braiding pattern a little bit. I'm going to start curving the bundles towards the front of my face. So each time I get to the front, I will bring that bundle a little more to the front and curve it upwards and then go back that way. Baby, it's the pressure of knowing that I'm watching you perform. So just pay close attention to how I bring the bundles towards the front. It'll make more sense the further I go along. So here I'm showing you, now that I've gotten to the front, I want to start curving it just a little bit. And I go further and further each time I wrap around. So you guys can see, I can't explain it. But last thing I need to explain, when you are sewing on your actual anchor braid, be sure that the bundles are being sewn towards the back of the anchor braid, because that last bundle that we set aside will go straight across the front of your anchor braid, and that will hide all of your wefts, that will hide that anchor braid, and it will make the hair look more natural when you flip it backwards and do your hairstyle. Here I'm sewing on my last bundle, and this is where I will really change my pattern. I did not double this last bundle because I will need every last inch of it. You do not want to run out of hair once you're getting to your end. You can see how I am curving the hair towards the front, and you can see I'm just practicing to see how the hair is gonna flip. It looks good, so I'm gonna just keep sewing. And pay attention to how I keep pulling that band forward. I am really making sure I do not sew onto that band. Okay, so here is where I decided this will be my last curve forward. So I am cutting the rest of that bundle, and I want the top of my hair to look full. This is curly hair, so I want it kind of bushy. So here is where I'm changing the sew-in pattern, and I'm going in a straight line across the top of my head. So I'm gonna just finish off the rest of this bundle, and you guys will see how I sew in the rest.
I just wanna feel something. No way, no way. Feel something. Oh, no, you won't be sorry.
Now I'm starting to see the idea of how the hair is going to flip. So because the hair is falling forward, when you flip it, it does hide your weft. So I'm just trying to get a little idea of how it's gonna look. Okay, getting back to that last bundle, I did sit down so you guys can see the top of my head, but I'm just going back and forth until I get to the back of my anchor braid.
I made him feel it in the name of pressure. See, we been making love constantly. That's why my eyes are a shade black burgundy. The way that we kiss is unlike any other way that I be kissing. What I'm kissing, what I miss, won't you listen? Brown sugar, babe. I guess high off your love, I don't know how to behave. Brown sugar. Right down to my knees, and whenever you let me hit it, sweet like honey when it comes to me. Skin is caramel with the cocoa eyes. Even got a big sister by the name of Chocolate. Brown sugar, babe. I guess high off of love, don't know how to behave.
Last piece of thread, and I'm gonna go ahead and clip this hair back so we can sew on our last bundle. But before I do that, I have to cut off that band. I have these tiny scissors. Make sure you're being very careful. You do not want to cut your own hair because your hair is really close, and you also don't want to cut your thread. If you cut your thread, your bundles are going to start loosening up. So be very careful. Here you can see what I meant by sewing your bundles towards the back, so you can have room on your anchor braid in the front to sew your last piece. So this bundle is doubled, and I am sewing it. The hair is obviously towards my face, and I'm sewing this bundle starting from behind my ear where my anchor braid starts, and I'm going to just sew it directly across the front of that anchor braid. This will make the front of your flip over part undetectable. So I like to sew this really tight because you will be moving this hair around a lot and flipping it around a lot, and you don't want the weft to start flipping forward and showing. So I do sew this really tight in the front. So now I'm getting to the end. I'm just gonna cut this piece of hair off. You can double it if you want more hair, but I think this will be enough hair in my face. So I'm cutting the rest of that hair off, tie my last knot, and then we can go ahead and start actually styling our hair and cutting it. So I'm going to cut my hair first. I do want to wet it. I did get that brush, y'all, from Dollar Tree. I told you guys in one of my YouTube shorts that I was going to try this brush out and see how it works on curly hair. It's pretty good. It's a dupe for the, is it the Uni brush or something like that? But I just have a bottle of water, a spray bottle with conditioner in it, and I'm just wetting all of this hair so I can see how it falls. And I just want to trim it a little bit. I do like the length it is already. I do want to cut a little more layers and also frame my face a little bit, so that's what I'm doing here. Question is why I do the things I do. Answer I made. You can see this side was way longer than the other, so I definitely had to even that out. I told you guys I did use this hair before, and I think the last install I did cut it a little bit, so that's probably why the lengths are a little off. But yeah, just had to get that together, and I wanted to see the back to see how it fell. I love the way it fell in the back, so I didn't cut it anymore. I thought this was actually perfect. So cutting this hair just a little bit. Be sure you don't cut this too short because you have to remember the hair has to be flipped either back or sideways. So when the hair is too short, it won't sit right. So that's why I kept the hair a little bit longer. But as the weeks went on and I styled my hair even more, I did cut it a little bit. But I did just start off with it long, and I did like it like this. So I'm adding just a little gel and this curl enhancing oil. I really love this from TJ Maxx. I love it on this hair more than I love it on my natural hair, but all in all it still works well. So I'm clipping that hair back, and I'm going to take my hair out of these braids and wet it and add some gel and style it. Keep focus. You remind me I'm imperfect and it's so to admit. Nobody put that purpose in me like you do. Still, nobody get that work about me like you do. Nobody get the truth about me quite like you. You're the definition of my right hand. Never mind riding backseat when you lead me. Talk to me in your love language. Show me, yeah, how to connect to you. Help me understand how you speak your love language. Call me like you can suppress memories. So as you can see, my hair texture is not exactly the same as my bundles, but honestly, when your hair is styled, you don't even see your natural hair in the front. The only thing that you really see is like your baby hairs and a little bit of your hair when it's slicked back and over the wefts. So here I just kind of pushed my hair backwards and I added a little gel, and you can see how undetected those bundles are. So that shows I did a great job with doing my sew-in. I was actually going to do my baby hairs here, but the more I slicked my hair back, I liked it natural with no baby hairs. So this is pretty much the final look. It looks so natural, you wouldn't believe this isn't my hair. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Give me a thumbs up if you like the way this came out. Comment down below any changes you guys would make. And as you can see, this is totally undetectable. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Just because I let it slide.